Welcome back to Next Generation. In today's video, we will be making a mini gravel driveway.
For our jet ski.
Yes, for the jet ski, that's why it's mini.
Which is currently on our back patio, taking up the entire back patio. So
No joke.
We want to move it. This gravel idea can be used in so many different ways. So you can make yourself a driveway like we're doing, whatever size that you would need. You can also use this as a pathway. So if you want to build a little gravel pathway to like your backyard, you can use it to fill in a space maybe in your backyard where you want to put like tables and chairs or a fire pit, barbecue pit, something like that, because it's so much better, especially here because it floods. And the last option is to use this anywhere where grass maybe doesn't grow. You can just use gravel as your yard, because that's another issue we get a lot here.
Flooding.
So this is a great solution because it's almost like concrete. It can be permanent if you leave it there long enough to be permanent. It also is really low maintenance, so you don't have to mow it like you would a lawn. You don't have to care for it, stain it like you would wood or things like that if you were to build out a wood patio. So this is just the best option. We felt like that's the quickest, a cheap alternative, and low maintenance. So that's why we're doing it.
One trick though that we found out, don't go to your local hardware store for gravel, because you're going to buy a lot of bags of gravel and it's going to be way too much.
Expensive wise.
Yeah, way too expensive, I guess I should clarify. But what we did was we shopped around and found like a gravel or dirt distributor.
I would just Google bulk sand. They usually will carry limestone, which is what we actually use, not gravel. It's actually called number 8 limestone. They will deliver, so you will see us picking it up in this video. We'll show you that whole process if you're interested in going that route. But if you want to pay a little bit more to have it delivered and just dumped off in your driveway or right where you'll be using it, then that's an easy option as well.
Another cool thing about this DIY is you don't need any power tools. Just a shovel.
Just a shovel and some muscle, because
lots of that though.
You'll be using them. So we're first gonna start with everything that you need to make this. Everything will be linked down below in the description if you're interested in purchasing any of it. But the first thing you'll need is a shovel. So we used both a pointy shovel, like your regular standard style shovel.
For digging.
And then we also used a flat shovel as well. So again, everything will be linked in the description because I don't know what this stuff's actually called. And then the other hand tool you'll need is some type of rake or a push broom. We ended up using both of those and they worked great. So one or the other should do the job just fine.
Now, this item is not necessary unless you're gonna build a frame for your area. We built the frame, so we ended up getting treated 2x4s to build that.
We wanted to build a frame just to make sure none of the gravel spills out. We're just clean freaks, so we want it all confined in its place. So we're building a frame using treated 2x4s and some little metal brackets that we found in the lumber section. Again, linked below because I don't know what it's called. If one piece of gravel goes down, I'm picking it up and putting it back. And that's gonna be annoying without a frame. You'll also need some landscape fabric or a weed barrier of some type, especially if you're gonna be placing this gravel jet ski landing pad, as I like to call it, over a pre-existing grass area, because if you're gonna pull up the grass, you will probably still get weeds and grass growing through your gravel, so you will need some landscape or weed barrier fabric. And then the last things you'll need are sand and whatever type of stone you're laying, whether that's limestone, gravel, whatever you would like. Even if you want to do concrete, you can do that as well. But we're going to be doing limestone, crushed limestone, I believe it's called.
Yes.
So we're going to need sand and gravel. And just a little tip, you can Google sand calculator and put your exact dimensions of your space, and it'll tell you how much sand and how much gravel you'll need for that space, so that you're not buying too much or too little and having to go back to the store. So highly recommend this.
Yeah.
One bag of sand at Lowe's was equal to like half a ton of sand from the distributor. When she dumps it into our truck, you'll see that we laid a tarp in the back. This was just so that it would be easier. Once we scoop a majority of the sand out, we can just pull the rest of it on the tarp and dump it into place. So we just feel like this is easiest for cleanup and to keep the bed of the truck clean as well.
And it didn't scratch the bed of my truck because my truck isn't lined. It was a win-win all the way around.
So here's our area where we're gonna be building our gravel pad. We're gonna dig about 6 inches down so that half of the way we can use with sand and then the other half we can fill with gravel.
So as far as the shovels, I know the pointy shovel is for digging and the flat shovel is for scooping, but I really wanted to cut a perfect line to edge out where we were gonna lay everything, and I just felt like the flat shovel did that a lot better. I used the pointy shovel to dig as deep as I needed, which was 6 inches, and then I actually came back with the flat shovel and scooped it out.
And then we used contractor bags, and this was a lifesaver because we had so much compost from this. And you can dump this at a compost facility or something like that so that you're recycling your materials and they don't just go to waste.
Yeah.
So once you have finished scooping all of your soil and you're to the depth that you would like, then we went in with a rake, just kind of grade and level everything out so that we have a flat surface to work on. You can also use a stick to measure from one end to the other. So we marked from the top of the tape measure down to 6 inches on a bamboo stick. And you just want to stick this in the ground, and the bottom string is going to be our lowest point, so that's going to be where our soil line is. We're going to fill to the middle with sand and then up to the top string with gravel. So you can use these and place them all throughout your space if you would like, so that it helps once you go to fill it up with your materials, you'll know where to stop and to kind of keep everything pretty level as possible. And now we're just gonna lay our landscape fabric, and since we had a lot left over, I just went ahead and did a double layer of the fabric.
So now we're gonna go ahead and add our 2x4 frame. The way we're gonna do this is just cut our boards to size and then connect them using the angle brackets that we got. This will help keep the wood at a 90-degree angle. It'll keep it secure, in place, and once we add the gravel, it'll stay.
It's not going anywhere.
That's right.
You can also add a bracket to the bottom of your frame as well if you want to further support it. So now for the fun part, we're picking up our sand, getting it loaded in the back of the truck. The easiest way to unload the sand was to back the truck up as close as we could to the space where we're dumping it and literally take a rake or a push broom and pull it off of the truck as much as you can. And then once it's not as heavy, you can pick up the tarp and dump the rest of the sand into your space.
We were very lucky that we were able to pull up to the space and just dump it off the back of the truck. If you're not that fortunate, I do recommend a wheelbarrow. It'll help a lot. All right, so now that we have all of our sand laid out in the space, we're gonna go ahead and wet it and compact it. So the way we're gonna compact this is we're just gonna use a hand tamper is what they call it, and we're gonna hand tamper this down till it's level and compacted.
And you'll see a little green thing sticking out of the ground. This is our termite bait, so disregard that. This is not needed for your DIY. So now we're basically repeating the process from the sand, but to the gravel. So back to the store, get loaded up in the tarp of the truck, and back up as far as we can once we get home and scoop it out. I think we should dig a trench. And don't be like us, add your frame once you lay your landscape fabric, because we did it after the sand, so then we had to go backwards and scoop a hole to stick the frame into.
Yep.
So just don't learn from our mistakes, okay? It went so fast. This was probably the fastest step in my opinion.
It really wasn't bad at all. And I know you guys are probably saying, well, it wasn't bad because you just scooped it from the truck to the space. Well, you're kind of right. If we had to
It was a lot of scoops, okay?
It was. But if we had to transport that to a different location, it would not have been as much fun.
It'd be fun with a bobcat. I mean, I'd have fun with that.
I tried to look for a reason to rent a bobcat for this, but as you can see,
that'd be a little ridiculous.
Yeah. All right, so now that we've got all the gravel dumped out the back of the truck, we're gonna do the same process. We're gonna rake all this gravel smooth, we're gonna wet it, and we're gonna compact it with the tamper.
And you can just sit back and enjoy your work as you water it, because look at this beautiful rainbow that was just staring at me after all this hard work. Since this is right where our gutter drains, this will also really help with drainage in this area. I would just suggest maybe making it a little bit deeper than 6 inches so that it can drain large amounts of water. So now, the moment of truth. Let's see if our jet ski fits. Hopefully it does.
It better fit, because I don't know what else we're gonna do.
How do you like it?
I'm excited that it fits. I was very nervous because we were cutting it close with 5 feet wide for the trailer.
Yep.
Not gonna lie.
So how do you guys like it? Comment below what you would DIY with this gravel idea. And stay tuned to make sure you're subscribed because we'll be building a fence around our jet ski. We will not be leaving it like this. This is just for the video and we're putting it back in our backyard until we have a fence. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not already, and we'll see you in our next video.
Bye guys.